Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's birthday, and also our sixth Imam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, birthday, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad و آل محمد. انقلابی در زمین و آسمان آمد پدید، لرزش در پیکر و کون و مکان آمد پدید، لرزش در پیکر کون و مکان آمد پدید. پردهداران پرده افکندند از ایوان عرش، که از ازل بر عرش یزدان مهمان آمد پدید. بعد عمری در ضمیر مرده نوع بشر، اضطراب سوزش و شور و تکان آمد پدید. گفتگوها در حریم ماه و اختر شد به پا، کان نهفته راز اینک بر عیان آمد پدید. شاهدان چرخ افتادند در رنج از حسد، کان چراغ آسمان در خاکیان آمد پدید. بوسه باران کرد خاک مکه را خیل ملک، که از زمینش فخر ماه و آسمان آمد پدید. Honoring our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, please say aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. جل فرجم. خجست میلاد سال روز با سعادت پیامبر نور و رحمت حضرت رسول اکرم صلی الله علیه و آله و سلم به همه شما عزیزان و سروران مبارک باد و همچنان تولد با سعادت امام جعفر صادق علیه السلام. We will start off our program. The Farsi translation will be recited by Brother Haji Yasin Amili, and the English translation will be recited by Brother Muhammad Al-Ammara. On the second session, we will have, from sister side, I have Sister Insia Naqawi. Hopefully they will show up. I don't see her dad. From brother side, I have her brother Mustafa Naqawi, also Brother Yahya Hussaini and Haj Muallim Hamkar, who will be reciting poems and articles for all of us. And on the third session, we will have Haj Agha Mudarris' speech, inshallah. از برادر سید مرتضی نظری خواهش میکنم که تشریف بیارن و آیه 52 تا 57 سوره مبارکه آل عمران تلاوت بکنن. سرسلامتی خودتان و آقا مرتضی صلوات محمد پسند ختم بفرمایید عزیزان.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا تطرد الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ما عليك من حسابهم من شيء وما من حسابك عليهم من شيء فتطردهم فتكون من الظالمين. وكذلك فتنا بعضهم ببعض ليقولوا أهؤلاء من الله عليهم من بيننا أليس الله بأعلم بالشاكرين. وإذا جاءك الذين يؤمنون بآياتنا فقل سلام عليكم كتب ربكم على نفسه الرحمة أنه من عمل منكم سوءا بجهالة ثم تاب من بعده وأصلح فأنه غفور رحيم. وكذلك نفصل الآيات ولتستبين سبيل المجرمين. قل إني نهيت أن أعبد الذين تدعون من دون الله قل لا أتبع أهواءكم قد ضللت إذا وما أنا من المهتدين. قل إني على بينة من ربي وكذبتم به ما عندي ما تستعجلون به إن الحكم إلا لله يقص الحق وهو خير الفاصلين. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
أعوذ بالله من شر الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. و آنان را که بامداد و شبانگاه پروردگار خویش را می‌خوانند و خوشنودی او را می‌جویند از خود مران. از حساب آنها چیزی بر عهده تو نیست و نه از حساب تو چیزی بر عهده آنهاست. پس نباید که طردشان کنی و از ستمکاران بشوی. و این چنین بعضی از آنها را بر بعضی دیگر آزمودیم تا اینکه کافران بگویند آیا اینها هستند کسانی که خدا از بین ما نعمت برتریشان داده است؟ مگر خدا به شناختن سپاسگزاران داناتر نیست؟ و آنگاه کسانی که با آیات ما ایمان آوردند نزد تو می آیند بگو سلام بر شما باد، پروردگارتان قانون بخشایش را بر خویش مقرر کرده است. به درستی که هر کس از شما از روی نادانی کاری بدی کرد و سپس توبه آورد و کار خود را اصلاح کرد، همانا او خدای آمرزنده و مهربان است. و این چنین آیات را به تفصیل بیان می کنیم تا راه گناهکاران آشکارا نشان داده شود. بگو من منع شدم از پرستش آن آن غیر خدایانی که شما آنها را به خدایی می‌خوانید. بگو من از هوس‌های باطل شما پیروی نخواهم کرد که اگر می‌کردم به تحقیق گمراه می‌شدم و در آن صورت از هدایت یافتگان نبودم. بگو که من از سوی پروردگار خود بر نشانه روشن و آشکار هستم، اما شما او را دروغ می شمارید. چیزی را که از عذاب با این شتاب می طلبید نزد من و در قدرت من نیست، به درستی که حکم جز به دست خدا نیست. حق را بیان می کند و او بهترین داوران است. صدق الله العلی العظیم. صلوات.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Do not drive away those who supplicate their Lord morning and evening, desiring His face. Neither are you accountable for them in any way, nor are they accountable for you in any way, so that you should drive them away and thus become one of the wrongdoers. Thus do we test them by means of one another, so that they should say, are these the ones whom Allah has favored from among us? Does not Allah know best the grateful? When those who have faith in our signs come to you, say, peace to you. Your Lord has made mercy incumbent upon Himself. Whoever of you commits an evil deed out of ignorance and then repents after that and reforms, then He is indeed all forgiving, all merciful. Thus do we elaborate the signs, so that the way of the guilty may be brought to light. Say, I have been forbidden to worship those whom you invoke besides Allah. Say, I do not follow your desires, for then I will go astray, and I will not be among the rightly guided. Say, I indeed stand on a manifest proof from my Lord, and you have denied it. What you seek to hasten is not up to me. Judgment belongs only to Allah. He expounds the truth, and He is the best of judges. JazakAllah al-Ali al-Azim.
Thank you to Brother Said Murtaza Nazari, Yasin Amili, and Brother Muhammad Al-Ammara for recitation of Quran and the translations. On the second session, as you can see, we have two beautiful cakes to celebrate these two occasions. So before we start with our representers, I will ask respectfully Ajaga Modares to come forward and cut the cake, and we will go to our representers, inshallah. For the health of Ajaga Modares, please say aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. MashaAllah, there is two, and if I want to go based on the name, usually we used to ask people what the name of the Prophet. If I want to do that, it will be probably 90% of the brother's side have to line up here. So this is one of the times that if I cut the cake, it would be inshallah because of my name. I will do it on behalf of all those whose name is Muhammad, Ahmad, Mustafa, and all the other name and titles of the Prophet Muhammad. For the honor of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, recite a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There's also, again, the writing is with Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam. For the honor of Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam, recite a salawat. Allah Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Do we have Jafar here? Anyone Jafar or Sadiq? No? Subhanallah. Zikriya, where are you? Come, join us. So we have Sadiq Zikriya Amili. It's the first time I heard, alhamdulillah. Inshallah, we will wait for Zikriya. Leave the shirchai to someone. Okay, come. صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Thank you. You didn't know that either? Alhamdulillah. Cutting the cake. Okay. صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was the first. He said, I didn't know that my name was Khayr, inshallah. We'll get ready, inshallah. John? JazakAllah khayr. گفتم اول به خودی خبر میدادن بعدا به ما میگفتن. JazakAllah. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so let's inshallah proceed with the rest of the program. For those who sponsored tonight's cake, as well as those who sponsors the dinner tonight, for their marhumin, please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Well, thank you, Ajah Madaris, for cutting the cake. And now we know my nephew's new name. Thank you, Ajizia Yamili. We'll continue with our programs, as I mentioned. I just texted back and forth with Brother Ihsan Naqawi. He could not be here. So Insia Naqawi and Mustafa Naqawi are they could not be here to present next week, inshallah. So I asked Brother Yahya Husseini to come forward and read you the poem that he has prepared for us. محترم آقای حسینی هم شعر تهیه کردن به زبان فارسی که به سمع شما میرسانند. If I can have everyone's attention, please. My brother and sister, can I have your attention, please? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
السلام علیکم و رحمت الله. با سلام و درود بر روح تابناک و پیشگاه والای ستارگان درخشان آسمان رسالت حضرت خاتم الانبیا حضرت محمد صلی الله علیه و آله و سلم. ولادت با سعادت منجی عالم بشریت و همچنان مغز متفکر جهان شیعه امام جعفر صادق را به عموم مسلمانای جهان و بخصوصاً حضار محترم تبریک و تهنیت به عرض می‌رسانم. با صلوات. بر مشام جان دمادم بوی جانان میرسد، کاروان مسپنداری به کنهان میرسد. گل به هنگام سحرگاهی گریبان می درد، چون صبا از سنبلش افتان و خیزان می رسد. غنچه اسرار نهان اندر میان سر بسته داشت، سرش افشا کرده گل دلشاد و خندان میرسد. بس کشیده رنگ زرد گلشن از باد خزان، مژده گل پادشاه نو بهاران میرسد. در چمن بر تخت زنگاری نشست بلبل از بهر خوش آمد در گلستان میرسد بار بکشودن گویی کاروانان ختن با صبا از کوی جانان عنبر افشان میرسد چند میخوای دلم ویرانه گنج مراد ورا از راستی راستی کم سر و بر سر و خرامان میرسد ساز شد ساز حجاز از مطربان دل نواز بانک احسن احسن از رندان به کیوان میرسد گویا مولود مسعود محمد شد عیان کز زمین ذوق و طرب تا باغ رضوان میرسد یافت مولودی تولد کز برای تهنیت بر زمین از باغ رضوان حور و غلمان میرسد بارها گفت پیامبر که علی جان من است هم به جان علی و اسم محمد صلوات
خب با تشکر و سپاس فراوان از آقای حسینی و از اجرای زیبایشان حالا هم از محترم حاجی آقای عباسی خواهش میکنم که تشریف بیارن و مطلب که تهیه کردن به سمع شما برسانن خارا برادرای عزیز سر و صدا واقعا زیاد است If I can have your attention and cooperate with us tonight I would greatly appreciate it صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم صلی الله علیک یا خدیجه الکبری صلی الله علیک یا خدیجه الکبری شعری است زبان حال حضرت خدیجه کبری سلام الله علیها دور شدم از این و آن دور شدم از این و آن با خودم آشنا شدم دور شدم از این و آن با خودم آشنا شدم آینه در حجاز بود عاشق مصطفی شدم سرمه نمیبرم به چین قند و شکر نمیخرم نقره و زر نخواستم صاحب کیمیا شدم بار شتر گذاشتم وقف تو هرچه داشتم بار شتر گذاشتم وقف تو هرچه داشتم دانه عشق کاشتم در قفست رها شدم با تو جرس به هر نفس مصرع عاشقانه است با تو جرس به هر نفس مصرع عاشقانه است با تو پر از قصیده ام، با تو غزل سرا شدم. ای که ملول میشوی از نفس فرشته ها، باور من نمی شود هم نفس خدا شدم. سفره دل برای من باز کن، آیه ای بخوان. سفره دل برای من باز کن و آیه ای بخوان. حرف بزن که محرم زمزمه حرا شدم. قطره من فرات شد، ذره ام آفتاب شد. پیش تو سید البشر سیدت النساء شدم. پیش تو سید البشر سیدت النساء شدم. پشت سرت من و علی قامت عشق بسته ایم. تو همه مقتدا شدی، من همه اقتدا شدم. من به تو دست یا علی داده ام از صمیم دل. مرگ جدام کرده است از تو اگر جدا شدم. لحظه آخرین غزل ترس ندارم از اجل. لحظه آخرین غزل ترس ندارم از اجل. پیرهن تو در بغل با تو دوباره ما شدم. صلوات.
خب با تشکر و سپاس فراوان از محترم آقای عباسی و از شعر زیبایشان، حالا هم از محترم حاج معلم همکار خواهش میکنم که تشریف بیارن و مطلبی را که تهیه کردن به سمع شما برسانن. سرسلامتی همه شما. اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. ده مجدک نور ایزدی ظاهر شد، ان تحفه سر سرمدی ظاهر شد. از آمنه در 17 ماه ربیع انوار رخ محمدی ظاهر شد. البشاره که جهان گشته گلستان امشب، عرش و فرش و ملک و چرخ چراغان امشب. شبنم ابر بهاری همدم بوسه زند، از رخ نسترن و لاله و ریحان امشب. بس که گل ریختن بر زلف عروسان چمن، غلغله گشت از مرغان غزل خان امشب. سطر گل زده، سطر گل بد زده اشجار بسر زمین همه گل. سطر گل بد زده اشجار بسر زین همه گل. سر بسر گشت زمین جنت رضوان امشب. کپ می خندد و بلبل بنوا سر بساز، شانه بر سر زده هدهد چو عروسان امشب. رخت نو کرده ببر سرو و چنار و شمشاد، همه از بحر پذیرایی مهمان امشب. سوسن و نرگس و لاله به تماشای رخش، سر برآورده ز آغوش گلستان امشب. هاتف غیب ندا می دهد ای خلق جهان، شاد باشید رسد ختم رسولان امشب. دست دست ملک از عالم بالا به زمین به تماشای رخش گشتش تابان امشب مریم و هاجر و لعیا و سفوراز بهشت همگی آمدن خرم و خندان امشب حوریان صف به صف استاده برای خدمت تا که ظاهر شود ان خسرو خوبان امشب بانک تکبیر ز جبریل امین داد نوید متولد شده ان صاحب قرآن امشب چون زلیخا که شود مست جمال یوسف پایه کاخ زده چاک گریبان امشب تاق کسرای عجم نار زنان ریخت بخاک کنگرس از سر و آزینه ز ایوان امشب ساوه دریاچه بخشکید و سماوی جاری زاسمان رانده شد ابلیس حراسان امشب رخ تاها چو عیان شد جان شد روشن شد آتش کده خاموش به یک آن امشب نور جاء الحق اسلام چنین جلوه نمود که شد امضای زهر باطل ادیان امشب یوسف مصر دوباره برود در چای عیش که ز احمد نگرد چاه زنخدان امشب بر در بارگاه پادشاه کون و مکان گشت جبریل امین خادم و دربان امشب خاک مکه ز شرف تانه به عالم زد و گفت که منم جلوه گیه آیت سبحان امشب البشارت که به میلاد نبی ماه دیگر شد از لطف خداوند نمایان امشب عرض تبریک و بشارت به مسلمانان باد کامدن در بدن حق طلبان جان امشب صادق آل نبی نور رخش ظاهر شد زند مولود جهان گشته درخشان امشب شد عیان رهبر توحید که وی را نکند پایگاه ستم مردم نادان امشب روز پیری شده و عشق جوانی دارد کربلایی بسر شوق فراوان امشب هر کس که لب لال تو را دید به دل گفت حقا که چی خوش کنده حقیق یمنی را در عشق تو دندان شکست است به الفت تا جام رسانی اویس قرنینا بر محمد و آل بیت محمد صلوات
با تشکر و سپاس فراوان از محترم حاج معلم همکار از شعر و اجرای واقعا زیبایشان. انشاءالله خداوند سایشان از سر ما کم نکنه. سر سلامتی حاج آقای همکار. صلوات محمد پسند ختم فرمایین عزیزان. اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد. همچنین باز هم با تشکر و سپاس فراوان از محترم آقای عباسی و آقای حسینی از مطالب زیبایشان. We are done on the second session. We'll go over announcement. If I can have everyone's attention, please. Please check with Haji Zia Amili and Brother Saeed Razak and pay your monthly donations. If for whatever reason, if you're behind with your monthly donations, if you can bring it up to date, it would be greatly appreciated. With that being said, tomorrow our Taha Islamic Academy will be open 9:30, inshallah. So please try to drop off your students at least 10 minutes before that. With that being said, please help us to keep our masjid clean as much as possible. Please keep the noises down as much as possible, especially when you're going outside after program. With that being said, Ajaga Mudarris' speech tonight will be a match made in heaven, Prophet Muhammad and Lady Khadija's marriage. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. میریم و از محضر حجت الاسلام و المسلمین آقای مدرس استفاده میکنیم. صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد. Yes. Ajir Ahmed waited for the last second. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the love of our beloved Prophet and his immaculate progeny and family, Ahlul Bayt, recite salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. For the honor of all the noble and pious women of the history of Islam, especially one of the women that Prophet said that heaven is anticipating and is waiting for her, Lady Khadija salamun alayha, recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين وشفيع المذنبين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم والله غفور رحيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purifies our souls, illuminates our hearts by the light of Iman and guidance, with the love of the Prophet and his family and the love of awliya Allah, with another salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. 10th of Rabiul Awwal historically marks the marriage anniversary of Lady Khadija salamullah alayha and Holy Prophet. And because these days, as we said, we're honoring Prophet, one way to honor him is to talk about his family and specifically talk about his honorable wife Khadija salamullah alayha and their relationship. If there is, again, in some sense, a match made in heaven, a couple who are ideal examples and role models to learn from, without a doubt, our Prophet and Lady Khadija salamullah alayha's life is a great role model example to replicate, to copy, to be inspired by. And we are hoping that tonight, I'm hoping that I'll be able to discuss a bit of history with proper extracting lessons that we can apply to our lives and benefit from it. Importance of history, as I mentioned in Muharram, in Safar, and any other occasion, is that it's not for entertainment. These histories are not science fiction or fictional. They are the lives of the people that we hold them to the highest of standards. And They have so many practical lessons for our lives. At the age of 25, 15 years before beginning of his prophethood and bi'tha, our prophet married a woman who was one of the well-known women of the Mecca. She was considered one of the elite of Mecca. She was someone who had many other suitors, many other who came forward for marriage, were interested in marrying her. And she was a businesswoman. She was someone who financially, there's so many reports of how much wealth and how much asset at the time she was managing. She was very resourceful and wealthy. But she's the one who initiated proposal to Prophet. The marriage of Lady Khadija and Prophet, the one who sent a messenger and showed interest in marriage was Khadija salamun alayha, historically. There is this historical disagreement whether how old Lady Khadija salamun alayha was. Some historians say that the age difference was 15 years. Some argue that it wasn't as much, it was 3 years. That Lady Khadija was 28 years old, or 29 or 30. But 40 means 15 years age gap. It was not something that some historians agree with. Tashakkur. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I appreciate it. Thank you. And we're not going to spend time on historical debate on that. But one thing that is consensus was Lady Khadija was older than Prophet. And this marriage shattered so many taboos of the time. Not only that time, even our time. One is the age, right? The age gap. Usually, even right now in the modern society, usually men are older than women when it comes to marriage. Usually that's the case. We have exceptions, but that's usually the case. And usually the one who is initiating interest in marriage is the men. That's again, even right now, it's usually the common practice. But back then, that was not the case. And our beloved Prophet is teaching us one lesson. Lesson number one from this marriage, from the life of Prophet. When something is right, when something is good, even if cultures is frowned, we have that has, is frowned down upon, is considered in some shape and form unacceptable culturally. If it's right, it doesn't matter what culture says. Unfortunately, that's a problem in our communities. There is a good ideal candidate for marriage for someone, and because of 1 year or 2 year or 3 year, people disregard that option. It's a right candidate. It has so many, if you have check boxes that this person is the right match or not, we ignore it. If you have similar cases and you want to go with the standards of the culture, bismillah. It doesn't mean that if your spouse is older than you is always better. That's not the case. It means that age, it should be not one of the priorities in the decision making. Who the person is much more important than how old she or he is. When I hear, this is not just for our community, this is socially what I've noticed in the modern society, at least in social media and pop culture. For example, height is so important to some women. If a guy is short, for some women, it's a no. It's short. I'm not even consider a short guy. And for men, there's some standard. Again, I'm not going to consider this kind of woman. These are issues that we are undermining an opportunity. We are missing a chance of finding the right person, a suitable match. Our Prophet ignored the culture. The other one is that offer came from Khadija salamun alayha. But how this happened? Another lesson number 2. Lesson number 1, truth is more important than some cultural norms. Sometimes norms have to be ignored because something more important, a principle, is involved. Number 2, which is also important, is that Khadija salamullah alayha did not make a decision blindly. She heard that Prophet, at the time he was not a prophet of God. 25 years old, he was not a messenger of God yet. Prophethood began at the age of 40, 15 years after their marriage. But she heard that this man, this young man, is known as Al-Amin. He is the honest one, the trustworthy one. But because something people say it's not enough, what she did, she verified. How she did it? Our Prophet was hired by Khadija salamullah alayha to work for her. Let's go all these, drama that we have about accusing Prophet of pushing, just masculine agenda and all these things that we heard. Our Prophet, at the age of 25, worked for Khadija. He was an employee of Khadija salamullah alayha. And he agreed to work for a woman without any problem. So when he was hired, Khadija sent a servant. This was this caravan going for a business trip. And Prophet was responsible, had a role in this business trip. So Khadija sent her special servant that, okay, you're going to observe and monitor his actions. Yes, I heard that he is Amin. Yes, I've heard he's good and honest, but let's see what kind of person he is. You're going to report back to me. So what this servant did, he observed. And when he returned, he started giving the report. And one thing he said was, whatever they're telling about this man is not doing justice to who he is. He's much better than what people say. That he is trustworthy, that he is honest, and he is truthful. Everything they say about him is true. And I observed him. I looked at his business transaction. When he could have made more profit, he didn't. He could have, side pocketed some money and nobody would have known. He didn't. He even considered that I'm going to make profit, but I'm going to also consider the one who's making a transaction with, if he's desperate, I'm not going to take advantage of their desperation. He could have. They really needed what he was selling, but he did the fair transaction. Once it will become clear to Khadija that who he is, then she put aside the pride and arrogance. And she was the one who sent the initiation that I am interested in marrying you. And then Prophet came forward with his uncle Abu Talib alayhi salam to ask for marriage. But how she did it through proper channels. She didn't approach directly. She sent a messenger, a mediator, a connection. This is an incident which took place how many years ago? We are right now in 1445 after Hijrah, right? Since Prophet migration. Since Prophet migration. And it was 13 years Prophet lived in Mecca. And add another 15 years before his prophethood. So this story that we talk about is 1,500 years, more than 1,500 years old. Don't look at with the standards of the modern society and how people are chivalrous and how they behave. This is 1,500 years ago. That our Prophet, what he didn't do? He did not humiliate and insult someone because they were interested in marriage. And they did the proper channel. And also, she was a right candidate and match. Because she was known to be the modest woman of her time. وَكَانَ مِنْ أَحْسَنِ النِّسَاءِ. She was one of the best women when it comes to aqlan. Intellectually, she was very sharp and smart. وَأَتَمَّهُنَّ رَأْيًا. She was a very determined person to make decisions. She was good at her willpower. Her opinion and her suggestion. She was not a pushover. She had her own opinion. This is someone that Prophet considered that she is the right person to live with. And both, when they agreed, this marriage happened. And Abu Talib alayhi salam, Prophet's uncle and Imam Ali's father, is the one who solemnized the marriage between the two. What we can learn from this marriage for our time? There's so much. Number one, not even one instance we see in the life of Prophet and Khadija that Prophet would throw something at Khadija's face that, oh, I didn't want to marry you, you came to me. God forbid, sometimes we know someone is vulnerable, we take advantage of that. I know people after 40 years of marriage, the husband or the wife, what they say? I didn't want you. They have 3 kids. They have, inshallah, grandchildren. I didn't want you. They forced me to marry you. And we think this is going to do something great to us. We like this pride that I was so handsome. I had so many suitors. They were lining up at our door. What are we learning from that? That you had all, this is your family now. And this comment that you make is to make yourself feel better? And you make your own marriage is going to be bitter because of this? It requires that capacity. Another lesson is to verify. We heard, oh, mashallah, she is a very good girl. May Allah bless her. He's a very good guy. May Allah bless him. His father is a great guy. May Allah bless them. But you have to verify. Some people, I do istikhara, khira. Istikhara says, good, we're going to do it. And I always say, so Khadija, salamun alayha, and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, look at them. Did they do khira for marriage? When Ali ibn Abi Talib, after the departure of Fatima, salamun alayha, after Shahada of Hazrat Fatima, when after years he wanted to marry, he asked his family, I want to marry someone, a woman who is from a good family. A family who is known for their bravery. I want a family who's, the type of family that she grew up in that is brave. And also other merits and qualities he was looking for. And then that person found al-Banin, which her name was Fatima, for Imam Ali for marriage. You're looking for the right person. It's not a random selection. When we hear something great, okay, he is Sayyid, she is Sayyida. May Allah bless all the Sadat. It's not enough. It's not enough. To verify what kind of person is important. And sometimes we blindly fell for things that we should not. Oh, he's nice. A lot of people are nice. That's one good quality. Was that enough? Is he or she responsible, committed? Are they respectful of your belief? Are they someone who try to demolish who you are and build you a new person? And lastly, which is, I would say, it's also another critical point that we should pay attention, is that after the life, this is 15 years before prophethood, 10 years after, 25 years. There is no other woman in Prophet's life. From the age 25 to age 50, there's only one woman, Khadija salamun alayha. When Prophet leaves for Medina and goes to Medina, and we see other Muslims, يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. You see waves of people becoming Muslim. That's a different time now. The Arabs of the time, again, in the marriages of the Prophet did not pursue again. In many of those marriages, they were the one initiating offer to the married Prophet. Because it was a reason of honor and pride for the family, for the tribe, that we married the Prophet of God. But Khadija, salamun alayha, and Prophet's marriage is different. That's why Prophet would say, أَيْنَ مِثْلُ Khadija. There is no one like Khadija ever. Who can be like her? Who can fill her shoes? This is after she died. And that brings me to the final point. I tried to keep tonight a bit more brief, to inshallah, you have enough time as a happy time, so you have enough time to socialize, inshallah. If you want me to finish it as soon as possible, and give myself and yourself a break. Recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. One of the loudest salawat of the entire lecture. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. I feel your pain. Don't miss me. What is, I would say, the final lesson? These are very important, I would say, in our time. I wish we learned from them. And when I say I learned from them, it doesn't mean that if we're not doing it before, it's too late. It doesn't mean that from tomorrow I'll be perfect. That brings me to the point I want to make. There is this issue, which is people are seeking perfection. And what I mean by perfection is that one thing is that in Islam we're looking for perfection. We're pursuing perfection. Kamal. That is good. Our religion said try to be better. Increase your iman, increase your faith, increase your sabr. Always try to go toward perfection. But another issue is that we are idealists. We are craving perfection. Anything but perfection is unacceptable. What it means is that you're either 100, anything by 100 is a fail, automatic fail. Anything by 100, anything except A plus is failure. We don't accept B, we don't accept 90, we don't accept 80. That is a problem. That is an issue. And what does that to us is ultimately make us become ungrateful. What Quran says about the concept of gratitude. وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. When it comes to the blessing of your Lord, you have to proclaim the blessing of your Lord. Meaning that when you have the blessing, you should be aware and acknowledge those blessings rather than saying what blessing we don't have. If I only focus on the negative, if all I see is negative, my life will be negative. I've seen kids in school, they're miserable, crying. Why? Because they got 96 in their test. Crying. Unfortunately, this is also very strongly pushed by immigrants' family. Because there's this theory about the model minority, that we want to be the one who's the best. We represent our entire minority group. You know, you are representing all the people who don't have the chance that you have. You're fortunate, feel guilty that you have this that many don't, and you have to be the best. And sometimes meaning the best is that even you're doing good, it's not that you still got an A. 96 still is A. No, but it's not enough. Crying. Sometimes, you know, next time I should strive to get 100. I should go to the honor program. That's good. But crying meaning that this is a failure. This is unacceptable. And there is a problem. This put us in a position that we will not be grateful for anything. People who are perfectionists and idealists, specifically when it comes to matters that is out of their control, they usually end up in sadness, they usually end up in depression, and they are the one grieving all the time. Why I said this, what has to do with Prophet's marriage? Because when you look at Prophet talking about Khadija salamun alayha, what he's talking about. Look at the word of the Prophet about Khadija. Some people ask Rasulullah, why you talk about Khadija? She died. That you still talk about her. She's gone. You have other people who are alive. You know, we have these comments, right? Remember the living, forget about the dead, focus on the living, and all these comments. They said similar comment to the Prophet. So she passed away. You have other people now. Why you talk about her? And this is what Prophet said. He said that, أَيْنَ مِثْلُ خَدِيجَةَ. Where is someone like her? صَدَّقَتْنِي حِينَ كَذَّبَنِ النَّاسِ. She was the one who believed in me when nobody else did. When everybody else called me a liar, when everybody else called me majnoon, when everybody else was against me, she took my side. That's why no one's like her. This is acknowledging of who she was. وَوَازَرَتْنِي عَلَى دِينِ اللَّهِ. She was the one who was an assistant, a supporter when it comes to the religion of God. She was a defender of the religion of God. وَأَعَانَتْنِي عَلَيْهِ بِمَالِهَا. And she was the one who was also financially supporting the religion of God. She put her life in line, she put her wealth in line, and she was the one who first to believe in me when nobody else did. That's the difference. That's acknowledging. You know, when she decided to marry Prophet, what happened to Khadija? Among the early things that happened, Khadija was shunned by her own society. The women of Medina, the women of Mecca, they said, you humiliated us. You were one of the elite. You married this orphan who had no money. You should have married a wealthy, one of the elite of Quraysh, and you chose an orphan. That's why when she was pregnant with Lady Fatima, majority, they boycotted her. They didn't even come to her. They didn't even help her. Imagine you make a decision to marry the Prophet of God then. Once people start marrying Prophet after Khadija passed away, after Prophet went to Medina, is not the same scenario. Now marrying a Prophet is not going to be a reason for people to shun you, to go against you. It's the opposite. Right? Now that you're married to Prophet, it's a quality for you. It's a credit for you. Ya nisa an-nabi, O women of the Prophet, O Prophet's wives. Lastunna ka ahadin min an-nisa. You're not like other women. You have now a stature, you have a position that people look at you. If you make a mistake, your punishment is dhi'fain, is twice as much as normal people. Because now, when you do something, they look at a Prophet. So he's Prophet's wife. If your good deeds is going to worth more, your sins also is going to be much more different. You will be held more accountable. But Khadija's story is opposite. Marriage of the Prophet is going to cost her. As-sabiqun, as-sabiqun, ulaika, Surah Waqi'ah, what Allah said. Who's as-sabiq? Sabiq is forerunner. The first. The forerunners, Allah said they are the closest to Allah. Those who are initiators. The tough job is not for the bandwagon jumpers. It's not for people who just go with the flow. It's the one that they go with the truth when nobody else is going. You're the exception. You're the pioneer. That makes a difference. And that's Khadija. Who is as-sabiqun as-sabiqun? Who is the one praying behind? Why we don't mention her name as a Muslim? Any other name is more than Khadija. And no one lived with Prophet as long as Khadija. The longest marriage is 25 years. Prophet passed away at the age of 63. So meaning any other marriage after Khadija was maximum 12 years. So you talk about people who lived a few years with Prophet, left and right. But Khadija, no. We're not going to talk about her as much. Why? What is against her? It's a tragedy. And we say Ummul Mu'mineen, the mother of the believers. And how can we say mother of the believers? The first mother of the believers, we ignore her. The one who has no controversy in her life. Others, unfortunately, there are controversial decisions they made. They stood against the Khalifa, the Caliph. Some of them stood and fought. They were in a battle against another Muslim. But Khadija was never there. So she's the least controversial person. Why you don't talk about her? What's the bias against her? But there's so much for us to learn. So I would say another lesson is that to acknowledge the good, my brothers and sisters. That's what Prophet did about Khadija. You know that Khadija sometimes got upset. One of the moments that she was upset and sad, it was when Prophet, Allah asked him to stay in the cave of Hira for 40 days and not to come back to her house. Not to come to Khadija. And she was sad. That, did I do something wrong that Prophet is not coming back? And eventually a message came. Because Imam Ali was the one taking food to Prophet and they were going back and forth between Prophet and the cave of Hira. Because Ali alayhi salam is the one who grew up in the house of Khadija and Prophet. Imam Ali said about Khadija salamun alayha, Rabbaytani. She was the one who raised me, took care of me. After Abu Talib passed away, after Abu Talib, the guardianship came to Prophet. That's why Khadija and Imam Ali alayhi salam, these are the ones that are with Prophet all the time. Not only in the house, but also praying behind him. The message came that Khadija, don't be upset. You didn't do anything. This is not on you. But Prophet is not going to talk about this. Oh, remember the time you got upset? And God wanted me to do something? In our marriage, my brothers and sisters, stop talking about negative. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, he forgot my birthday. 20 years ago, he did this, she did this. As a human being, we have flaws. Is your husband, is your wife doing better? Yes, alhamdulillah, be grateful. This is kamal, this is your marriage is doing better. Don't be an idealist. Oh, I want a perfect marriage. You know, a lot of single people, they're scared. Why? When I talk to them, when they talk about marriage. So my fear is, what if I get married to the wrong person? What if they're not the one that they show? What if they pretend they're fake? What if this and what if this? And there's so many if that is always in a state of anxiety. And my answer to them is your due diligence. This is the best you can do. Nobody can know what's going on in the heart of someone. Allah knows. Nobody knows. The one who knows what we conceal in our hearts is Allah. What we can do is, we try to do research, due diligence, try to investigate, confirm, verify, and that's it. فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. You made your research, you get your part, you get your facts right, and then tawakkul. And don't be a perfectionist. A perfectionist is the one I said, all we talk about is negative. As you know, we come together, let me tell you about what an evil husband I have. Or what an evil wife I have. And we always put our finger on the negative, on the bad. Why? Because the given, the good is expected. And when we used to this kind of thinking, the result of that is going to be a marriage that is always, we're at each other's throat. You don't do enough for me. I do more than you. Because the other side is not doing enough. In my mind, they're not good. They're not perfect. There's so much to improve on. When I look at myself, I'm doing my best, Sheikh. I'm doing my part. They're the one lacking. And this is not for exceptions, by the way. There are some marriages who have problems. They are one-sided. There are marriages who one side is very selfish. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about average relationship. And it became again a joke that always makes me laugh, but it's a very, unfortunately, sad truth behind it. When some people complain, especially about their husbands, right? Because I'm a husband myself, so I resonate with that. He said, okay, the husband have this problem and that problem. He said, okay, who is a good husband? Who's an ideal husband? And as a joke, they always say, a good husband is a dead one. That's it. The moment they die, they're perfect. Even some of them, when they die, they're not perfect, right? It's better, you know, you deserve to die as soon. It's the bitter part. It's the sad truth. Why? Because I have so much expectation. I'll come, inshallah, about this. I elaborate more on the art of thinking clearly about this issue of idealism. That how much it distracts us from thinking clearly. Because all I desire is a perfect version. Anything beside that, I don't look behind end of my marriage. I don't think, alhamdulillah, we're healthy. We're, mashallah, committed. We are ameen, God forbid, alhamdulillah, we're loyal. We have all these great things. And now because he forgot to do something or she forgot to do something, it doesn't undermine the whole thing. It's not a deal breaker. And the life of Prophet has that lesson. To remember the good. This is the hadith, which I would say would be a great compliment and is kind of a conclusion of our speech today. is narrated from Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam, يقول الله تبارك وتعالى لعبد من عبيده يوم القيامة. In the day of judgment, we have that there is a servant of God. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked this servant, أشكرت فلانا. Said, did you thank that person? Fulan means the blank, right? Someone. Mention a name. Did you thank him or her? فيقول بل شكرتك يا رب. The servant says, God, I didn't, but I thank you. I didn't thank that person, the human being that you're talking about, but I was grateful to you, Ya Allah. فيقول لم تشكرني إذ لم تشكره. Allah would respond in the day of judgment, you were not grateful to me because you didn't thank him or her. If you were ungrateful to that person who did you help, you didn't do my thing. And how can we show the gratitude? Prophet said, "Man ata ilaykum ma'rufan fakafi'uh." If somebody was kind to you, if somebody offered you a service, and in a marriage we are bombarded by kindness of the other side. It's impossible you're in a relationship and you receive no khayr from your husband or your wife. So we receive blessings from them. So Prophet said, if somebody did a ma'ruf, somebody did good to you in any shape and form, فَكَافِئُوهُ, you have to reciprocate. Jubran means if they did good to you, you have to return the kindness. وَإِن لَمْ تَجِدُوا, if you're not able to do it, let's say they did some kindness that you cannot afford. You cannot match it. فَأَثْنُوا فَإِنَّ الثَّنَاءَ جَزَاءً. The minimum you can do is to be grateful, to verbally thank that person who did you a favor. That this gratitude, verbal gratitude, is a way of paying them back. So our Prophet did that with Khadija. When she was alive, Prophet would acknowledge it. When she passed away, Prophet would still show gratitude to Khadija. And that should be a lesson to us. In a marriage that we always trying to say there's much more to be done and we don't acknowledge the work we've done, that marriage will go downhill. A marriage that we don't have gratitude. May Allah, by the honor of the Prophet, by the honor of the family of the Prophet, help us to look up to these marriages who's filled with sakina, tranquility, peace, calm. A marriage that is filled mawaddatan wa rahma, Quran says. A relationship that is filled with mercy and love. And I always say, why Allah said mercy in a marriage? Because no one is perfect in that relationship. Sometimes you need mercy. You need to let go. You need to forgive. Otherwise, there's always something to be upset about. Always to hold grudges. There's excuses. Because we want 100 or nothing. But if you have 80, 90, 70, that's something to be grateful for. For the honor of Lady Khadija and Prophet and their families, the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, recite the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Inshallah, as you know, again, the actual day of the wilada of the Prophet and Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, according to the school of Ahlul Bayt, is 17th of Rabiul Awwal, which will be on Tuesday. So if you want to celebrate at home with your family, a simple thing. You can get a cake. If you're one of those health-conscious families, don't get a cake. Get a vegan cake. I don't know, whatever makes you happy. Do that, please. But acknowledge that is the birthday of the Prophet. You can do it at home. I know it's a weekday, so we will not have a program. We will do it, inshallah, the next weekend as well. We will have, inshallah, great programs. We will have games next week as well. As well as there will be a performance by our micro school student as well, inshallah. That will be next Friday, we celebrate. But on Tuesday is the actual day of the Prophet. Maybe what we can do on that day, besides celebration, is to recite 2 rakat salat, 2 rakat prayers as a gift, as a hidiyah to our beloved Prophet, 2 rakat salat for Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam as a hadiyah, as a gift for them, or a simple salam to the Prophet on that day. May Allah inshallah accept it from all of us. Let's conclude and finish our program with the ziyarah. Everybody stand up. We finish with the ziyarah inshallah. وعجل اللهم في فرج مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا نبي الله يا خير خلق الله يا خاتم النبيين. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين ويا إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين وعلى أمك خديجة الكبرى سلام الله عليها أم المؤمنين. السلام عليكم أيها الحسن والحسين سبطي نبي الرحمة والسيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي الباقر وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد بن علي التقي الجواد وعلي بن محمد الهادي النقي وعلى حسن بن علي العسكري الزكي. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمام الإنس والجان يا أبا صالح المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the hastening return of Imam of our time, for the well-being of all those who are mareed and requested dua and prayers, and for the soul of all marhumin, please recite Surah Fatiha with the salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.